Hello, my friend, we meet again. It's been a while, where do we begin? What's up,
I
everybody?
remember, 'cause when you are with me, I'm free. Woo! What's up, y'all?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's season 5, and we're kicking it off with a little sing-along coming on.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
We drink too much bourbon already.
Let's do it live on a First Friday miracle edition of the Screaming Idiots Show. Glad to have everybody back in for another awesome season. I hope everybody enjoyed season 4. It was definitely our best work to date. I want to thank each and every guest that came in and gave us some of their time to provide you guys with some of the best content, some of the best metal content out there. So, as always, if you aren't already, make sure you follow all of our socials, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, at TSIS Podcast, or just search the Screaming Idiots Show. And also, shameless plug once again, if you were interested in binging all of Season 5 all at once, hop over on Patreon, search the Screaming Idiots Show, or just click the link on any of our bios. $5 a month gets you every episode of the season all at once. No waiting. Binge it all. Have at it. That's all the plugs I'm doing for today. Boys, good to be back in the studio.
Plugs.
Feels great.
Did you say butt plugs?
Yeah, you said plug, and that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I
Can never make it out of the first 5 minutes.
Nope. He can't make it out of the intro. He literally can't make it out of the intro. Like, it's impossible.
That's what his wife said.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that either.
That's tough. So, Preston, we'll just dive right into this shit because you had, I guess first, do we want, as we sit here, it's September, I don't know
5th, I believe. 6th.
September 6th. So we did just record a couple days ago with a guest that you will hear in episode 2 of season 5, but we wanted to continue with the trend of having a solo episode to kick off the season. Didn't want to mix it up too much on you guys, so you'll hear an awesome guest episode next week. So we've had some time to digest the Polaris album, Fatalism. So and talking about this record will lead us into your topic, which I think is a great one. So Preston, give the listeners your your rundown of it.
Yeah, so I don't want to make this a giant dick riding session or anything like that, or belabor the point in, I guess, jumping into this album super in depth. But I at least wanted to talk about it on here for some of the listeners that maybe wanted to hear our opinions on the album, because it was obviously an anticipated release.
Right.
We were extremely excited about it. And it didn't fucking disappoint.
No, not at all.
What I'm struggling with already in this conversation is, how do I get my points across without this taking an hour?
Yeah, we talk about bands like Polaris and Norma Jean and Moths and all, a lot of these bands ad nauseum, because for good reason. But we don't want this to turn into the Polaris show, so we'll try to keep it as brief as possible.
So, give me just a second, because I think this is going to help
Require a Chewski?
Yeah, I think it will.
Yeah.
Help you
Sydney,
focus.
if you're listening, he's not actually putting one in. This is only an illusion. Mr. Magic's Magical Magic Kit. Sponge. Bro, are you chewing long cut again?
No.
Oh, I was about to say. Going backwards.
I'm done with that shit.
Okay, all right.
So, I keep saying so. That needs to be... I need to get rid of that out of my vocabulary.
Hey, man, I say it a lot.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I went into this album after Inhumane.
Make it sound like I'm a fucking dumbass or something over here.
They was.
We was doing this, man.
Unforgivable.
So I honestly went, and I don't know that you guys know this or we've even had a conversation around this, but I went into this album slightly skeptical. And the only reason I say that is because I knew, because of Inhumane And of course, Nightmare, it was just a banger overall. But I knew what I heard in Inhumane, especially with it being a little different, that I knew that some more electronic elements and synthy stuff and different things were going to be tried on this album. And what I was afraid of, and conversations that me and Kyler used to have years ago, we've always been afraid of bands stepping out of their box. And we've talked about it on this show.
Yeah.
Stepping out of their box, and even if it's good, it not being what made us love them. And I was a little skeptical, even though I loved Inhumane and I absolutely loved Nightmare. And then, of course, Overflow dropped. I do believe it's the most mediocre song on the record.
Which one? Overflow?
Overflow.
Okay.
But I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Are you meaning just like normal?
Yeah. It's not, by no means is it a bad song, because I lose my shit when I hear it, especially the different breakdown part.
Just out
But
of the
it
three.
doesn't give me the highs that some other stuff does.
Sure.
So I woke up on a Friday morning. I was like, I think I woke up at 4:30, and like I wanted to, as soon as I woke up, pull it up and turn it on. And I waited until I got on 35 to where I'm driving 75 mile per hour. It's straight to where I can just dive in. So I heard,
Did you just admit to a traffic violation?
huh?
On national television?
So Harbinger, is that how you
Yes.
pronounce it?
Harbinger's the opening track. Yep.
Absolutely loved it. Didn't know where they were going with it at first, even though you can tell it feels like an intro song to an album.
Oh, it's a perfect intro
Yes.
song. Yeah.
Now that I'm 5 listens into the album, roughly, it's an absolute perfect intro to an album. Then you have, what's number 2? Is Nightmare? Yeah, Nightmares 2. And I don't need to go track by track. But I'm sitting here, I'm 4.5 listens through the album now. And I do believe, and I understand there's recency bias involved, I do believe it is their best album to date. I cannot not, when I get in my car, I can't not put it on. And I'm the type that I try to not overplay something, because I don't want to be 3 months from now and not want to listen to that album.
Right.
But I can't stop listening to it.
Yeah.
Cannot stop listening to it.
So let's get to the more objective opinion on this.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned this before we started recording. I think it's great that all three of us, might have very similar opinions on certain things, but I don't know that we've ever, all three of us, agreed on something except Creed.
Yep.
So Tyler, you have a little bit of a different view of this record, so I want you to go ahead and talk about that.
I will argue and I will cut you off, so heads up.
He's a fucking never mind. Fucking Democrat.
Oh shit. That's what they do, ain't it?
I know it is. That's exactly what they do. Yeah, I'm triggered.
I guess the best way
Put the pronouns in your bio.
to to describe it, I my experience kind of, I guess we'll go to that Friday morning
Yeah.
when it released.
It's kind of cool to
Same
talk about
thing.
on this show because it's a trend now.
Getting up in the morning, going to our meeting for work, butt ass crack of dawn, and I get on the road, and obviously that's the first thing I turn on once I hit the highway, and I'm listening through the album, and nothing really drug me in the sense that, like, nothing was really exciting me about it. And as I'm kind of working through this, I'm like, well, I'm tired. I don't really want to be up right now. This drive fucking sucks.
This
Maybe-
meeting fucking sucks.
Maybe maybe I'm just not feeling it today.
I did
And
call
then-
him. I did call him, or no, I think I texted him when I was about 5 minutes away from the office, and I asked him if he was done listening to the album, and he said yes. So I called him, and I said, "All right, on a scale to 10, what'd you think?" And you said,
Well, hang on a second. Let me
Okay.
finish my story.
"Oh, that wasn't it."
So I didn't realize that the album was over and a song comes on, and all of a sudden I'm like, fuck yes. And I'm just vibing to this song and I'm getting kind of excited. And then I was like, let me see what track this is. And it was actually a Make Them Suffer song. And I was like, So now I'm wondering if this album just isn't landing for me, because here's a song that is landing with me, and I'm still just as tired, still just as fucking irritated about this drive, dealing with Cincinnati drivers being douchebags. Why is this song landing for me? But, all these Polaris songs that just played aren't. And yeah, when Preston called me, I was like, man, off the top of my head, I got to give it like a 7 or 8.
Which is still a pretty good record.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could recognize that first listen. I'm like, well, it's still Polaris, and Polaris still is metal as fuck, and they're fantastic. But this album just isn't connecting with me, and there's something about it that I'm not loving. I like it, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
So then I listened to it again on the way home. I was like, man, I don't know. But on the way home, I had the windows down, couldn't hear as much. So I was like, maybe that's it. I couldn't hear as much. I had the windows down. That's what it is.
You didn't hear the guitar go through a grinder on All in Vain, did you?
And then
Tyler knows what I'm talking about.
I'm talking to Preston about this
You
this
just
album
made
on
a
the phone,
sex
and
noise.
I'm just like, dude, I don't know. And then I was like, well, I'm going to the gym this evening, so I go to the gym, put my headphones in, and I'm like, this is it. This is where it lands. And it still didn't land. And I'm like, I hear the singles that were put out, and every time the singles would come on, I was like, man, these songs are a jam, because we've talked about the singles on the show, and I was super excited about them. I fucking loved them. I thought they were amazing. Even Overflow was...
Oh, I love it.
It's a jam.
It was... I don't want to say ballady, but like it was...
I
It
get,
was
for
more
them.
chill
I get what you're
for
meaning.
them, but it was
Yeah.
like more chill.
Yeah,
And
I get
the,
what you mean.
the chorus lives rent-free in my head. I don't bend, I break, I do, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Bro, that, yeah.
Kyler keeps making sex noises. I can't wait to hear
Every
him talk
time.
about it.
but like these singles were coming on, and I was still vibing to them. And I think the only other song on the album that really stuck out to me was In Regards. I think.
With
Yeah,
regards.
With regards.
Yep.
With
That's a fucking
regards,
jam.
the first time I listened through, that song caught my attention. But like, you guys, before we started recording, were losing your shit to Parasites. I'm just like, that song.
Careful.
I don't know. For some reason, I don't geek
I'm gonna
out
throw this
about
fucking
it.
guitar case out here.
Hey, buddy, you smell something burning?
I don't geek out about it like you guys have, but I will say the only thing I have not tried yet, because I've listened through this album 4 times, trying to
There's no helping you, dude.
trying to
Jesus
get it to where
Christ.
like it's landing. The only thing I haven't tried is sitting in here listening to it
With your
with my
headphones on?
speakers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man,
I will
love coming
say-
in here, listen with the,
I will say I feel like I was a little bit. I kind of didn't do myself. I done myself a bit of a disservice leading into the release. So you had Movements that dropped their album,
And it is great.
and it is fucking amazing.
Yeah, you guys were obsessed.
And so
with that, right?
they dropped that album. I went on a couple weeks where it was just alternative. And then the Ohio is for Lovers concert festival or whatever released its lineup. And I remember looking into all the bands on it. And then for another like 2 weeks, and probably like the last 3 weeks or so, it's been punk.
Yeah, you had mentioned you weren't in a metal vibe.
So I think part of it was not being in that metal vibe, and even in the gym here lately, I haven't been listening to a ton of metal. So I think I just, with those like mood swings we've talked about in previous episodes.
Well,
It's
kinda,
real.
Yeah,
It's real.
It's kind of like maybe
me with the Johnny Booth record.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
you,
did you come
Oh, yeah.
around?
At that time.
yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. At that time,
Yeah, it's
you were in
fantastic.
that mood
I
swing.
was yeah. So I
that
wonder.
wall.
Tyler mentioning this. I wonder if
I
in
talk so loud, damn
let's
it.
say maybe in a month, does this album maybe hit a little? Maybe not to the extent that it does for you,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
for a lot of people out there, but maybe does it hit a little more home in a certain amount of time when you kind of swing back around? Dude, it took a month for me to get into that Johnny Booth record.
Yeah.
It's a fucking banger,
Bro, it's
But when
sweet.
it first came out, I was like, this shit sucks, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I was way out on metal. Like I was just, or at least I was in
Certain
a
kinds?
deathcore like
Okay.
like that Dying Wish, that kind of vibe. So that Johnny Booth, which is hardcore, I mean,
Yeah.
it's what it is. That was not hitting home for me. at the time.
Structured Rage, I think.
Structured Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here thinking, man, I wonder if we have this same conversation in a month, if Tyler's viewpoint is just a little bit different,
Yep.
and it might not be.
I
Yeah.
mean, I have full faith in Polaris to blow me away.
Yeah, and maybe the concert will change his mind too.
Yeah,
Oh, it will.
I think a lot of it is just me not being in that metal mindset for like
mindset.
4 weeks
That's a t-shirt.
leading up to the release of the album. And then I think because they done some different things with their sound and some of their writing, to me it didn't hit like the previous 2 albums did. And I think it's partly because of those different things that they done. But even, when I walked into the room here and you guys were listening to it, hearing it on my speakers, I was hearing things a little differently than I did in my car. So I was already hearing, like, I remember listening to this song and thinking it was, it was coming across this way in
Yeah.
the car, but I'm hearing it now, and I'm like, now I'm really hearing the guitars. I'm hearing the clarity of everything going on a little better.
All
And
the different layers.
I can hear what they're doing a little better, and it's starting to make sense. So I feel like here at some point in the next week or so, if I can get myself back into that metal mindset, listen to it on the speakers in here, it'll probably hit.
So I guess I'll go through my opinion real quick, because I want to move to your topic because it's really fucking good.
I honestly want to sit here and talk about it for 30 minutes now.
So that Thursday before the album released, I had ended up being up late. I was watching. There was a football game on.
Yep.
And I was up watching the game. And by the time the game was over, I was actually doing some video editing for the pod as well. By the time it was over, it was 11:45, and I'm like, well, fuck, the album drops at midnight. I'll just stay up and listen to it. So I stayed up, and I was up till 12:35, 12:40 listening to it. And I was blowing you guys up in the group chat.
That's right, because I was like,
12:30.
Kyler's never up before us
I
on
woke
Friday.
up.
Yeah, no.
I woke up to a book and I was so excited, man.
So I had listened to the whole album by 1 a.m. on Friday, and I was like so captivated by it, but I'm like, I gotta hear it in my truck. I gotta hear it on headphones. So I went to bed and I got up the next morning and they were, Tyler and Preston were going through it as I was getting up, because they get up and go this early ass me. Well, my ass don't get out of bed before 7:30 unless I absolutely have to. So I get up at 7:30, something like that, get in the truck, get on the road and start listening to it. And just, it's blowing me away again. And I will kind of echo Preston's sentiment of, there is a bit of recency bias with it. I understand that. But for someone like me and someone like Preston that has been a fan of these guys for 10 years, we have a big sample size and a big window of listening and understanding and kind of diving into this band. I feel like we're in a pretty good position to say, hey, this compared to this, which one's better? Polaris has been at the top of the mountain for me for 10 years. And to me, this is their best record. And the reasons I say that is because the songwriting, the creativity, the lyrics are so hard hitting, and it's so eerie thinking about a lot of the lyrics. And then, obviously with Ryan's passing, it's so weird how it all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have agreed with me and Preston on this, that we actually ran a poll on our Instagram, saying, hey, is this Polaris' best album? 75% of you said yes. So we're not alone in that thinking. Does that discredit the Mortal Coil or the Death of Me? Absolutely fucking not. Because if you're asking me the top 5 best metalcore albums of all time, those 3 are probably fucking on it. So, but it was just so emotional for me because, unlike Preston, and no discredit to him at all, but I really dive into lyrics.
I did on this album.
You did on this album? So
yep.
if that should tell you something right there.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
I really I
Dude,
really felt
we got to be fucking serious when we're talking about Polaris.
I nudged his leg, so I felt it necessary to rub it. I was hoping a genie was going to come out.
Talk
but it
about
didn't.
Polaris.
Yeah, I'm sleeping. So I really felt connected to the lyrics, and then the music just blew me away because of how different it was from the Death of Me. You talked about the electronic stuff, the elements of hip hop in the vocal style, of punk, of hardcore, of metalcore. It was just this big gigantic melting pot of so many different styles, and they were able to put it together and make it sound so flawless. The production was great. The tone was great. Dan's going fucking nuts on drums. Jake and Jamie's vocal styles, they have done such a good job of getting out of their comfort zone and reaching into whole new realms vocally. Jake screaming a whole lot more. Jamie singing. It was everything I wanted and more with this record. And I'm like Preston, where I tend to overplay songs, and then when I do, I get burnt out on them. There's one band that I've never gotten burnt out on, and that's Polaris.
Yep.
Because I still listen to shit from Dichotomy and The Guilt and the Grief. I do not skip a Polaris song ever.
Yep.
Ever. I don't give a shit. I have every single Polaris song downloaded on my phone. I never skip one. I every year what's the Apple playback, where you do the
yearly
year review thing. There's one band that's always at the top, and it's like 25% more listening hours than any other band.
Yep.
And that's for a reason. So for me to sit here and say, yes, this is their best album, boy, that's really fucking saying something. So that was longer winded than what I wanted to be, but I really wanted to drive the point home.
I think it's cool to listen to other people talk about this, whether it's people like their reaction channels on YouTube.
Which, hey, if you guys think we should do some reaction videos, let us know, because we've been tossing around the idea of doing that on our YouTube channel to give you guys some shorter content to look at. So that's something we're probably going to end up diving into. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
I've drank a lot of bourbon.
I think it's a conversation that I value because of what that band means to me, but it's always so cool to watch somebody else light up about them and feel close to or the same way that I do. And with this album, and Kyler, me and you talked about it, I heard elements of the guilt and the grief, elements of maybe not as much dichotomy because I haven't listened to that in quite some time, but elements of the Mortal Coil, elements of the Death of Me, all in one, but it was in this new, fresh way. And the way they were able to put it all together, I'm just still floored. What is it, only a week ago when it dropped?
Yeah.
Was it last Friday?
So. Last Friday.
I know it's recency bias. I'm fucking floored and I can't get away from it, dude.
So that leads us into the point that you and I talked about on the phone today. So if you want to go ahead and introduce that point.
Yeah. A while back, I had a thought. I was scrolling through YouTube and I had watched a few videos and I think some bands had came out with some new stuff. And of course, Nick Nocturnal, 2 days later, shout out Nick, uploaded a video with the same talking point that I had in my head. And I'm actually glad that we're just now bringing up this conversation because it allows us to lump this Polaris album into this conversation. But I got to thinking, we talked probably a couple months ago where maybe all of us, but specifically me, I was in a tough place with modern metal music where it was like,
You were.
I'm sick
You
of
were
the
in a really tough-
down-tuned fucking seven. Yes, I'm sick of the down-tuned, same old shit metalcore. Even though I'm a hypocrite because not all the time, or I would say the majority of the time, I don't like when one of my favorite bands jump out of that realm.
We've had that
we've had
discussion on
that
this show.
conversation.
Yep.
But then a few weeks ago, and especially now, I got to thinking with all the new stuff that's came out, and I'm looking back on the year in review, and I'm like, modern metal is in a really good fucking place right now. And I'm so excited for what's to come. And examples are Invent Animate, and all this we've talked about already, or most of it. Invent Animate's
Just
album.
before you start running
Yeah.
through this, let's think about the albums that have dropped in the last in 2022 and 2023, and that includes what's dropped and what's coming, and let just think about some of those records. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so examples, and I'm not going to hit on them all, and Kyler will be able
I'll
to back
fill you
me
in.
up. Yeah.
Yep.
So if we lump in 2022, and of course I'm maybe not going to remember all of those, but you had Bleed From Within.
Mm-hmm.
You had, well, I mean, all of them lumped together. So Bleed From Within, Norma Jean,
Bad Omens,
Grey Haven. Was Monuments last year?
yes, and Stasis.
Monuments. But then now we have this new Polaris album, Currence's newest album. If you're a fan, Veil of Maya's newest album.
Sleep Token,
Sleep Token.
Invent,
Johnny Booth, Invent Animate. The new shit
Stellar
that Silent
Circuits,
Planets is
Silent
Planet's
Planet,
doing. Stellar
Spirit Box,
Circuits, Spirit Box's
Mob's
new shit.
new stuff.
Mob's new stuff. God.
And bro, it's just, I mean, non-stop bangers.
Make Them
dude.
Suffer's new
Make
stuff.
Them Suffer's new shit. No shit. And then them coming to Sharp Tone.
Hollow Front's new stuff.
Yeah. Dude, Dying Wish.
Even though it's cover stuff, it's good. Wolves at the Gates new stuff.
It has been non-stop bangers.
Yeah.
But and Tyler, I think you agree with that. I mean,
The Plot News new stuff.
Holding Absence.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
the
really
list,
metal, but
the list really goes on because
Mood Rings new stuff.
Movements.
Yeah,
Caskets. Didn't they have new shit?
Caskets, yeah.
Caskets and
The Word Alive.
The Word Alive. The Word Alive's new album was actually I think I talked about my excitement around that last season. But,
Correct. You did.
It ended up not being a disappointment. I was
Devil
pretty happy
Wears
about
Prada's
it.
new. Sorry, I'm
shit,
just.
yeah.
It was
Prada's,
really good,
yep.
man. Sorry, that's just recent downloaded.
I mean, we had the
Yeah.
conversation before we started recording. Is this the best year since 2005, or the best 2-year run since 04-05? I mean, it's insane to think about. But the thing, I think the point that Preston's trying to get to, and Tyler, I want to hear your thoughts on this too, is that it's a lot of the same bands releasing music, but they're doing something, just even the slightest little change, doing something different. And it's just taken it to a whole new fucking level.
So I agree with you guys 100%. This has been a fucking wild last, even 12 months.
Yeah.
In metal.
We're kind of fucking spoiled.
We are very spoiled.
Yeah, so there was kind of a bit of a lull there, winter time
Mid-year.
frame, going into spring when we started recording, and that's kind of when you had mentioned. I think it was season 1 where you were
Wasn't in
kind
a
of
bad
sick.
place with music.
You were kind
but
of
it was
sick
just,
of some of the shit that was coming out.
It was
but
towards
like,
the end of season 1, I believe.
Yeah.
So that would have been in
um,
March, April.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of that, and there was a little bit of uncertainty. But looking back at the last, 2022, 2023 so far, and then what is to come.
Spirit Box,
I mean,
Holofront, Dying Wish,
compared
Dying Wish,
to
Silent Planet.
Silent Planet.
compared to the previous few years
Sorry, God.
that I can think of. Yeah, you got just keep dropping them anyway.
Dude, it's
But compared to the previous couple of years, we've talked on the show, and I don't want to go, through the whole story again, but how I had listened to metal, but it wasn't like an everyday listen to me up until I started hanging out with you guys, and you guys were just flooding me with music. The thing is, you guys were flooding me with all this music, but a lot of it was like, what the fuck was that?
I got bad hammy.
Oh, okay. It didn't look bad. You had that fucking foot all the way in behind your head.
was straight as a goddamn
I'm
arrow.
flexible as shit,
The
man.
motherfucker got in the get fucked position.
I'm done. I quit. Tyler Heidi, get your ass in here. I quit.
Need a replacement.
But you guys were flooding me with all this stuff, but a lot of it had been, out for years.
Man, I've been butt fucked
or
with music
whatever.
this year. Jesus.
Getting a music mouthful over there, baby.
Just as long as there's a fucking condom involved, I'm cool.
I'm seeing
gotta
the
have
ring
the bass.
light when I close
You
my
gotta have the
eyes,
bass.
bro.
Bro, we didn't even mention the BDSM song that came out.
Big dick, small mouth, bitch.
Sorry.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
But,
Any hooser.
any hooser.
We
Yeah,
was-
so the previous 2 years, 2020, 2021, a lot of what I was listening to was older shit. A lot of the stuff you guys were sending me. There was a few prominent albums that had dropped in that time frame. I believe Periphery dropped that Hail Stand.
fucking Periphery's album this year.
Periphery's new
Jesus. Damn.
Hellstand was 2020.
Wage War dropped Pressure. I was
Pressure.
actually listening to our
Gent is
season
not a
3
genre.
premiere.
Wage War's new album was last year.
Mm-hmm. So I was listening to our season 3 premiere earlier today, and we were talking about the album Pressure, I think it is.
Mhm.
So like
The
that
with the
was
diamond
I
on the
think
front.
that was a really
that
good
was
episode.
released around that time frame, but like it was just these few and far
COVID,
betweens
man.
that
I really think
were
COVID-
dropping. But like
22
this
and
last
23,
2 years, now that I feel like I'm somewhat caught up to what has been released up to this point, there's very few bands I'm running into that like there was Micah Relocate that I found that
Yep.
I just kind of stumbled upon, but all their shit is older. Like I feel like I'm caught up with all that kind of stuff. But the last 2 years has been fucking awesome.
It's incredible to think about. And again, you guys have talked about it as Screaming Evidence as a band where COVID really put the brakes on a lot of shit. And I'm
Even
sure,
Polaris talked about it in a
yeah,
recent post.
absolutely. I know that was a factor for a lot of these bands that they probably had shit in the works, and they're starting to work on stuff in 2019, coming into 2020. COVID hits, and they can't finish what they were working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my thought process has been, so yes, it delayed it, but it gave them more time to make tweaks, perfect their sound, write
Maybe
different
that's
songs.
why we're seeing it now.
Maybe that's why
Yep.
I think that's a huge factor in
Yep.
it. That
Yep.
we are now 2 years, or I guess 3 years post-COVID, and now it is full-blown everything we've been working on for 3 years. Here it is.
Take it.
In its absolute God-tier form.
It is,
And
man.
so thank you, COVID. Thank you for that.
The one fucking good thing you did.
Yeah, that was the one good. Gas prices were pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Gas prices were
Nobody was going anywhere.
I was, by God, I had shit to do. but yeah, so I think that had a, COVID had a lot to do with it, and now we are reaping the fruits of that time where no one was able to get something recorded. So now this leads us into the next point of your topic here, and it is, here's the bar that they have set for them. These bands have set for themselves.
Yep.
And what does everybody else do, or any of them do, to stay relevant and compete?
And I think there's two parts of the conversation where one is if you're right there on the cusp of in layman's terms just being at this Burger got him.
I had to get rid of the last of it.
One part of it is if you're right there on the cusp of completely breaking through,
Can of corn.
completely breaking through like a Bad Omens did, what do you do in order to catapult yourself that much more? And then the other part of the other side of the coin is if you're more down here, and this is no discredit to anybody that is, but just logically thinking through it, because of how competitive this fucking scene is right now, what do you do to break through what's going on right now?
So I think there's, on both of those points, for these bands to kind of follow themselves up, I think they're all going to be sort of faced with a similar choice that any other band that's kind of started to blow up has been faced with. And that is, do we really focus like on this next record? Do we really focus on the content? Do we really focus on the music? Or, do we feel like we just made it and we can fart into a microphone and everybody's going to love it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's also the piece of, some of these bands we've talked about, they're on their 4th, 5th album kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you start getting into that realm, it's kind of hard.
You've been doing things for a while.
It's kind of hard to keep writing new stuff that is as good as everything else you've written. And that kind of brings me to that bonus episode where we were talking about Polaris, and I mentioned how I was almost afraid that, if Polaris's new album, because it hadn't dropped yet, if it was really good, are they going to be able to follow it up for a 4th?
Fifth.
And now
Actually, a 5th.
it's even more relevant because of Ryan's passing.
Yeah.
Right.
So which we touched on that as well.
So it's like, are these bands, did they set the bar so high that they realistically, on the music side of it, just merely the music side of it, are they going to be able to follow it up with equally or even better music? And the idea of it being better is like kind of crazy because some of the shit that's been released is just so fucking incredible.
I just don't know what else you can do.
How can you imagine it being better? And then on the other side of your point, I'm kind of forgetting what it was.
Yeah, so I guess one point was that the first point was what you spoke on. The second point was if you're a band that's on a lower tier, say,
what do you do to break through?
What do you do to break through?
If you're a Breathing Theory, what do you do to break through? A band of that level.
Yeah, or Until I Wake even, or whoever.
Yeah, which they've done. Man, they've done a really nice job here in the last year.
And none of these bands have done a bad job, but I'm just, if I were thinking for them, I would be thinking of,
oh fuck, how do we get to that?
what the fuck do we do?
And I think, I kind of mentioned before we started recording when we were discussing this a little bit, it's just kind of being part of the conversation, being part of, because there's we're seeing a huge flow of new fans coming into the Metal Brotherhood.
Yes, sir. You're goddamn right. That was a shitty one.
And a lot of that is because of some of these bands and their new records, like, Bad Omens, maybe a little bit of Monuments.
I love Monuments.
But, some of these bands that are attracting new listeners into the metal scene, I think for these bands that are kind of on the cusp and they're trying to break through, they just have to continue putting out at least good content. And stay consistent with it and be part of that conversation. I don't think that they're going to have to do anything particularly spectacular. There's only one Polaris. Like,
don't try to be Polaris.
don't try to be these other bands. Keep being you and make sure
that's why
that
I love. I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
That's why I love Spirit Box.
They're them.
Because
oh, man.
Yep.
they're them, bro. Like Courtney is her. Like that. Spirit Box
Unapologetically herself.
They are absolute. So when I think about
Bro,
bands,
Jaded is a jam.
bro, Jaded makes me want to fucking go ballistic.
Sorry.
But when I think about bands that I'm absolutely obsessed with, besides Polaris, Spirit Box is my number 1B, 1A, whatever right now, because everything that they do, I absolutely love. And they are
Except for that EP. Rotoscope, and I wasn't crazy about it.
Oh, I liked it.
Okay.
You fucking piece of shit. God.
I liked it.
Yeah, his feelings were hurt there. Damn.
God damn.
Damn.
Damn. I'm 57 years old. Damn. But
Why you say
anywho,
it like that?
Lois, this is definitely not my Batman glass. I have been obsessed with Spirit Box for
About a year.
no. When did Eternal Blue come out?
Year and a half, maybe.
Yeah. So they're just so different and they do it so well. So when I think about bands that are a part of the conversation, like Tyler said, but do it in their own way, they're not trying to be somebody else. Polaris, Sleep Token,
Johnny Booth,
Spirit Box, Bad Omens. There's just certain bands that I think that do it so well, that have their own. It's almost like they've
you
created
have to have an identity.
Yeah, they have created their own genre, if you will. They have a perfect identity of who they are. They own it. They're not trying to be somebody else. That's why I'm gonna call this motherfucker out. I don't remember his name because he's a nobody. But some dude on fucking YouTube, Metallic Reviews or whatever, whoever you are, you're a dumb fuck.
Oh shit!
Because you said that, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can fucking tell him I said this too, because you said that Polaris is trying so hard to be Architects.
Oh my God!
Kiss the
what?
lowest fucking part that is the bottom of my nutsack, you dumb fuck. Because they are so far away from, and I get it, everything's opinion based. It's all subjective. I get that, and you can not like the record. That's fine. But to say that Polaris is trying to be Architects is fucking asinine. So fuck you.
You can take the subjectiveness out of it.
When Kyler squints, you know he's fucking
mad.
pissed.
But you can take the subjectiveness out of
guy,
that
bro.
and look at that objectively. And dude, Architects does not touch what Polaris does.
No, and I'm
So,
not.
I
I'm not
think-
saying that Architects is a bad band. I don't particularly listen to Architects very much, but they're here and here.
Well, I think what he means, old Architects did have a Polaris type style, and I think they may have been doing it before Polaris. But to me, they were never as good. So I think that's what he means, but I'm not defending the
Maybe,
guy
but
whatsoever.
fuck him. That's why you only get 15 views per video, you dipwad. Subscribe to our channel.
There's going to be a lot of people that hate us in the future, but we're
That's
completely fine
Listen,
with it.
We said it. We said it in season 4. If you are sensitive or easily offended by words or statements, you don't need to be listening to us anyways.
So I want to piggyback on what you were talking about.
You can piggyback on me, babe.
Ooh, baby.
I say some gay shit.
Hey, it's 2023.
It's 2023, bro.
I can do whatever.
I identify as a weaponized. You know what? Never mind. No, I identify as Preston's hamstring.
You pretty stretched, bud.
I'm flexible as fuck.
But just because a lot of this is fresh in my head, I've been going back and catching up on episodes. When we were talking about Make Them Suffer,
Yes.
and how they fill
I love
they
Make Them
fill a
Suffer,
void in the sense of Make Them Suffer gives you something that Polaris doesn't.
Yes.
Polaris gives you something that Make Them Suffer doesn't.
Absolutely.
And so that's why it's so important for bands to keep their identity.
Spirit box.
Because you're going to give people something they're not getting anywhere else. And that's how you stay relevant.
Yep.
That's how you break through the noise.
Moth.
Is by providing something that no
Love it or
one
hate
else can.
Currents.
Exactly. And I think we talked about, Gary V on the show.
We have, yes.
a couple of times.
We've used his model for a lot of what we do as a platform.
Yeah, and he in the first book, Crush It,
Little dated, but really good.
little dated, and he did a follow-up version of it. But in the first one, a big thing that he talks about is if you're going to try to take something that seems like a hobby and try to make a living out of it just because it's a passion, it's something you love to do, you got to make sure that you do it better than anybody else. You go into it and you have to believe both subjectively and objectively that you are the fucking best at what you're doing. And so the same thing goes for these bands. Like you have to go into it and believe that whatever sound that you have, whatever style that you have, you are the best at doing that than anyone else. Don't try to be I prevail just so that you can make it.
Yeah.
Just because that's what's super popular. Let's sound like the most popular thing out there to try to get ahead.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe you pull a little influence from them, but keep the core of what you are and who you are. That's got to be the best way for these bands to make it. I haven't made it. I'm not even on the cusp of it, but take my advice with a grain of salt.
Well, and I think
you're
that's
also
what I'm thinking.
Probably the most popular local band in this area, so
I feel pretty sexy.
You've made it. You've made it more than 99.9% of Southern Ohio local bands. So let's be fair. Go ahead.
And I just want to very quickly make a point to that because, for an example, I was watching Nick Nocturnal do a reaction video.
He's amazing, bro.
He's awesome. He is so good.
Bro
at
is
what
literally
he does.
just on stage performing with Fit for a King. Like,
dude,
talk about making it.
He is so good at
And
what
he's
he
a
does.
Outstanding guitar player.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Just absolutely incredible. Go ahead. Shout out Nick.
Yes.
Love you, dude.
Thank you for all your inspiration.
Your content's
because
amazing.
It is so good, man.
You're literally
We
the modern day
appreciate you.
Jared Dines.
Yep.
And Jared was huge.
Yep.
So you're amazing. Go ahead.
So an example of what you're talking about is he does reaction videos every now and then to bands that he likes. And when he listened to Jaded by Spirit Box, he got about a minute and a half through and he's like, dude, this is so Spirit Box. Because what they had released before was a little different. They had stepped out of the box a little bit. I'm not crazy about it, but some people like it.
Spirit box.
Yeah. But he had said this is so Spirit Box, and I think it was when the chorus hit, but I'm not sure.
Ooh, I love the chorus in that.
But we talked about it even with the show, but specifically bands, and we talked about it with frontmen. There has to be an identity. Like when I hear this note, or I hear this specific sound, or I hear this specific voice, it's them. It's that. Yeah.
You know what song did that? Actually, I think The Void did that for me with Spirit Box. I was like, man, this is so them.
And that's kind of a different track for him, though.
I love the delay tap verse
Yep,
in the verses, or the guitar riff in the verses that's tapped with a delay effect.
Shout out Mike. He's a fucking cyborg
incredible.
on that damn thing.
He's incredible. And then Courtney is a top 5 metal front person for me.
wouldn't
She's
disagree.
incredible because the fact that she's able to blend how beautiful her singing voice is with her just pure ass
Angst.
screams, just amazing, absolutely amazing. I love Spirit. I think that's another thing we can all agree on. We all love Spirit.
yeah.
Box. So, yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's Spirit
Yep.
Box Creed. There we go. That's it.
But cue the song.
Should have been dead on a Sunday morning, banging my head. Oh God, it's not a Screaming
gets
Idiot
old.
show premiere if we don't have some Creed sing-alongs. It's just not. Look at me. No, it's when I think about I don't want to make this a hot take thing, but let's think about all these records that have been released in the past 12 months. I think is the perfect way to put it. Tyler said 12 to 14 months.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is the hardest one to follow up for that individual band? Because I have one.
I'm farting right now.
I heard that. I
have
heard
gas.
you. I chateaued myself.
Oof.
Okay, so you want me to do mine while you're thinking?
Go ahead and
go
do
ahead.
yours.
Mine is Sleep Token.
Ooh.
How do you follow up Take Me Back to Eden? How do you follow that up?
Because it was twice as good as whatever
So,
the album was without the line. This place will become your tomb.
Yep, that's it. Lyrically, musically, just vibe, the feel of the record. How do you follow that up? You know, Polaris can absolutely follow up Fatalism. They could even follow that
They've done
formula
it time and time
Yeah.
again, man.
I'm not saying Sleep Token doesn't have the caliber, the talent or capability to follow up Take Me Back to Eden, but Take Me Back to Eden was such a transcendent album.
That's country folk trying to expand our vocabulary.
Yeah, buddy. You guys got to remember, if you're new, we're from Southern Ohio. We don't
honestly
talk too
think-
well.
From being from Southern Ohio, we're some decently spoken people here.
I went to college. That's a horrible Plankton impression, but in my opinion, I think Take Me Back to Eden is probably the hardest album to follow up of the last. Invent can absolutely build off of what they did. Polaris can
Compared to what
absolutely
I
build
heard
off.
before, though.
I
with
agree.
Invent-
I agree, but I feel the same way about Sleep Token
Yeah.
because I don't really care for their other stuff.
Yeah.
Polaris can absolutely build off it. Stellar Circuits, they kind of stuck to their same formula that they've had.
Yeah.
Currents, same formula that they've had, just a
Yep.
little different.
Yep.
Currents can absolutely build off The Death of Me. Or, I'm sorry, The Death We Seek. The Death
I'm
of
trying
Me.
to think too, because like
The
you
Death We
have
Seek.
like Norma Jean.
Death Rattle Sing for me.
They can definitely back that
They
up.
can back that up.
I mean,
They've been
that's
doing
like
it for
their
25
15th
years.
album. I don't know.
I don't
They got
worry
a lot
about
of
them. Greyhaven, I don't worry about.
Yeah, because
And it's not- I'm not
Greyhaven has
saying-
gotten better and
I'm
better.
not saying I'm
Yeah.
worried about Sleep Token. I'm just like, here's the bar you've set. You've got
You're
to at
almost
least.
Bad Omens right now. Like, kind of thing. Like, you blew the fuck up. How do you top it?
Okay, but I think Bad Omens, Finding God Before God Finds Me album was better. The
Then
one before.
the most recent.
The most
I
recent
would
one.
say it was.
I guess
definitely better.
my point and
And
example.
I love the new record.
Yeah,
You're talking
I
about
guess
like how big
how
it
it
made
blew
them.
them up. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I don't know that we're talking about relevancy.
That album from that previous Sleep Token album put them in
farting
the
again.
spotlight. And now it's like now you're in the spotlight and now you have to back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my opinion, the hardest one to follow up is definitely Take Them Back to Eden or Take Me Back to Eden.
You
For
know
me.
what? I don't
That's-
disagree.
Yeah, that's just man, because that's just such a transcendent record.
I slightly disagree.
Okay, I would love to hear it.
Only because I really liked the album before it.
Okay,
This
once
place will
once
become
I
your tomb.
dug into it, the
And I
difference
probably
I
need to go
find
back.
the difference I find is that previous albums seem to have a lot more like piano and softer stuff in it, whereas this more recent album
A little heavier.
They leaned into the heavier part.
they
leaned
leaned
into heavy.
into
Yeah.
being more heavy more often, I
Yeah.
should say.
Yeah.
And then even stuff before that, there
God,
was
I
like
love
the
that
EP that we listened to. I
Yeah.
think their caliber of composition has remained steady. I just think what they done with this most recent album is they leaned into more of that heavy more often, and they stuck
They
their
landed
audience.
the plane.
They stuck the landing for their audience in a way that previous albums haven't, and so they have to back it up with an album that can land with their audience, their target audience, just as well.
And for Sleep Token, their target audience is everybody. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why I think that is tough.
Yeah.
Because Bad Omens, I mean, we could go into that too,
Yeah.
because their target audience became really everybody
The
with
other
the
ba-
Death of Peace of Mind.
Really quick, the other band we haven't talked about that does have a new album coming out is Beartooth. And maybe you
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
want-
that's
they
right.
do
Yeah,
have a new
they do.
album coming out.
Beartooth's a band that I feel like doesn't miss with their fan base very often.
Well, they missed with me on that last album
Yeah.
they put out.
I'm not a
Yes.
fan, so I
They
don't
had
know.
one
but-
song on that whole ass
Skin.
album, Skin,
Yep,
that
it's a
felt
good
like
song.
Beartooth.
The
Everything
only
else was
Beartooth album I
so
like is the
out
purple
there.
one. What's the purple one called?
That's the most recent one.
No, it's not. That has
Skin is the most, or not Skin. Skin is off the most recent album.
They
and it's a purple background.
Yeah, they released a single recently.
Sunshine.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
so they
It was
released
okay.
Sunshine. What was it called? Sunshine,
So-
Riptide,
Riptide
and
was the
Might
other
Love
one.
Myself.
You everybody that's listening, that's been listening for a while, knows how I feel about Beartooth. The fact that Beartooth was started as a joke by Caleb Shomo after he left Attack, I understand that they are incredibly popular and a lot of you out there like them. I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire.
Oh God!
I'd show up at their funeral to make sure they were dead.
Yeah, except for you were talking about a riff that you were going crazy about recently. Yeah.
What's that? That's off that record. The only one I like of theirs, the purple one in black. It's figure it out. Figure it the fuck out. Get the
Dominate?
What is? No. What does Bo say? Get the MIT kids on that. Nope. What's that album called? Figure it out.
Well, the
Give me your
black
goddamn
and
phone,
purple
you
is called
retard.
Below, and then Disease is the other one.
Not Disease. There was a couple off Disease that I liked. Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, I've said it before. The reason I
Jams.
don't care for Beartooth is I don't care for the hardcore vocals.
Yeah.
This one
Yeah, that's
below.
that's the most
Demolition?
recent. That's the most recent album.
Oh yeah.
Devastation.
Okay.
So that's the one song that I do like. I know they're incredibly popular, and actually Caleb seems like a super fucking cool ass dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they make bad music at all. It just doesn't land for
Yeah.
me.
You don't like it.
and that's okay.
That's okay.
I don't want to shift gears, but you did get a request to talk about a certain band, and
I don't know that we're ready to talk about.
I'm
them.
ready to talk about them.
I don't know that I am.
You
So
want to save it?
Nah, it's all right. We'll run with it, and if we
Okay.
need to speak on it later on, we can. A good buddy from work. His name's Chris Mink. Shout out, Chris.
Hey, yeah, I was just that name immediately rang a bell with me. Chris is always interacting with us on
Yeah,
social media,
yeah.
so thank you, Chris, for
Yeah,
being a
thank you,
listener.
Chris.
Appreciate
What
you,
up, dude?
good sir. Thank you.
So he's a
Sorry
fan.
for putting you in them nasty crawl spaces, dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he one on the crew?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.
We try to set him up for success, but not always does that happen. he had talked. He's a big Sleep Token fan, so he loved
he?
our.
Okay.
Yes, he loved our Sleep Token.
I wonder.
episode.
You need to ask him how he feels about what his thought would be on the next Sleep Token record. And we can save
I'll
for
ask him
another
that
show.
at work.
So, yeah.
Maybe even this Friday.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So we had talked back and forth a little bit, and he had said, "I'll actually read the message of our interaction."
Here we
really
go.
Quick.
Here's our Mailbag Wednesday, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. So he likes to interact with the page and everything, and he had messaged me and said, "You guys should discuss I Prevail on your podcast." And I said, "Bro, I don't know if you want to hear us on them." I said, "None of us are big fans of them, but to be fair, I don't think we've given them a fair shot."
Yep.
And he said, "I don't mind hearing negative opinions, but in your opinion, what's not to like about them?"
Okay. So,
And you know what? I got to thinking about it just because I do try to be as objective as possible.
I think this show has made us all do that a little more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, Sleep Token. For God's sake.
Yeah, for real.
We were so anti
Number one
Sleep Token.
example.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
guys were,
yeah.
but
Tyler and I were. Well, I was, and then
I was
Tyler rode my
more
coattail.
I was more indifferent. Just
Yeah.
didn't like the
Yeah.
dude's vocals, and I boycotted it. Go ahead.
so I feel bad because I haven't like really jumped into their stuff, and we're bringing it up on this show. But we've trashed them a lot, and I don't know that it's even we trashed them on this episode just a few minutes ago or 20, 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Not as bad as we
I just
trashed
said
Avenged
don't
Sevenfold.
be like I Prevail just
Yeah.
to make it. you
Yeah,
know?
and
Yeah. Which
I don't
is
know
accurate.
that I have a ton of points to add right now.
I do.
Chris, give me some time.
Chris, I'll help you out.
But I'm taking a step back and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, are they really that bad to us?
Can I go?
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah, you're good.
Chris, I'll help you out. I have probably been the worst out of all three of us on giving I Prevail shit. My biggest problem, and I'll be just direct with you here. My biggest problem with I Prevail was always that they blew up on a cover.
Yeah.
I have a problem, and that's what Preston prefaced the Wolves at the Gate cover album that's coming out. It pisses me off. They write some of the best songs out there. Why do you feel the need to do a whole cover album? Why? I don't get it. Covers are cool every once in a while. These guys do them, and they do a damn good job at them. But they're not doing a whole record of it. They're not playing an entire show. They're not a cover band. Wolves at the Gate is not a cover band. I Prevail is certainly not a cover band, but they blew up on a cover.
Taylor Swift.
I
cover
love
at
Pop
that.
Goes Punk. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that they blew up on a cover is what I've always been. And it's. I'm not saying it's fair. A man has to know his limitations. A man has to admit when he's wrong. I'm not saying that it's fair for me to think that I Prevail is lesser because they blew up on a cover. Because they write really good songs. The album that I can't think of the name of it. It's got Hurricane, Let Me Be Sad, all that on it. I love that record from I Prevail. Absolutely love that record. Let Me Be Sad gets me in tears almost every time I listen to it. I wish that the guy that did their unclean vocals, that did their screams, was a little better. But he is who he is. He kind of had Trauma. That's right. Yeah, Trauma. The Trauma album.
With
Love that
Gasoline
record.
and
Yeah,
there were a couple good ones on there.
I
yeah.
love that record. Actually, that's damn near a no skip for me.
Ooh.
Damn near. Damn near.
Yeah.
But I wish that their unclean vocalists had a little more range. But I say that about a lot of my favorite bands. It's JT Cavey from Era. We rail on him a lot for kind of having the one scream. But I love Era. Not everybody can be Chris from Moths. Not everybody can be Jamie from Polaris. Not everybody can be Chris Motionless. It's just not everybody has that range, and you kind of thrive in the space where you swipe the mouse real quick. Video still good? Video still good? Are we still recording? Because we make sure we don't have any Amber Alerts. Is there a little red square in the circle?
Yep. The
Okay,
number's
good.
moving up.
So, my biggest issue that I always had with I Prevail was the cover thing, and I wish that their unclean vocalists had a little more range. But I love their clean vocalist. His kind of raspy gravel. It sounds like he's got a little gravel in his gut when he's singing. I really appreciated that. They're musically, they're not quite where I would want some of my favorite bands to be. Listen, if you listen to an I Prevail record and you listen to a Polaris record, they're here and here musically.
Oh yeah.
But that doesn't mean that here isn't good music, because it appeals to the masses, and that's fine. So as I Prevail in my top whatever of metal music, no. Do they make good music? Absolutely. I really like the Trauma album. I haven't dove into them a ton beyond that, and I know they have music since then.
True Power was 2022.
Yeah, so I need to give them a better shake, because I actually like their vocals better than Beartooth. Again, I said that Caleb Shomo from Beartooth it seems like a really cool dude. I'd love to meet him, but I would tell him to his face, I'm not crazy about your vocals. And that's not an insult. It's just there's people that absolutely love his vocals. It's just a preference thing for me. I think I Prevail's formula is absolutely perfect if you want to achieve mainstream success, big time success.
Yep.
How they did it is what I disagree with. It's not their fault. I'm sure they didn't plan on a Taylor Swift cover being the song that put them on the map. But that's what it was. So is that fair of me to say, oh, well, you're fucking whatever because a Taylor Swift song blew you up? No, that's not fair of me at all. But I'm man enough to admit that. I'm sure that is not what their plan was. I'm happy that they didn't continue on the path of, this is what made us successful. We're just going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
They wrote their own songs. Their songwriting is really good. I just wish they were a little more unique musically. That's my take.
We're metalheads. We're.
Go ahead, Preston.
No, I don't have much to add other than the fact that specifically me and Kyler, when we listen to metal music,
It's
we
not
want to
even
hear
that we're
riffs.
metalheads, bro.
We want to hear
riff
fucking
writers.
riffs, but structurally put together to a point where
Yes.
it's like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome.
So for me, I can't say that I've given them the most fair of chances. However, I'm with Kyler here on a few things. So one, I don't love the idea of bands blowing up because of a cover.
Yep.
Do I blame them? Look, if I got to cover Taylor Swift to get on their level, Preston, fucking
Yeah,
get ready.
no, I get
to,
it. I get it, dude.
do the thing.
Yeah.
Get
But-
ready to do
Well,
the
and
thing.
we've even talked about, should we do a real cover and see what it does?
So
I mean, y'all's cover of the Red and Cold.
yeah,
really
So
good.
Cold?
like
really good.
Yeah.
I
So Cold?
love
Cold,
it.
yeah.
I've always loved the punk goes pop and things like
same.
that. I
But it
just
wasn't
don't
the
love
whole band's identity.
Yeah, I don't love the idea that what really catapulted you is a cover.
You made a
Whereas
pop
a lot
song
of those
sound metal.
Whereas,
Yeah.
the punk goes pop, a lot of those bands already
They were
Dude,
a thing.
they were
Asking
already
Alexandria-
at a level
When
where they
Asking
were
Alexandria
asked to
did
do these
right
songs.
now, nah.
Yeah, yeah.
They were already huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I think there is merit to having a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth due to that. I think they do have some good songs. So there's been songs pop up through Shuffle from that Trauma album that I'll listen to, and I'm listening to it, I'm enjoying it, and then I look and I see that it's that album, it's I Prevail, and I'm like, well, I can't just not like it now that I know who it's from.
Yeah.
So I've added a couple of songs from that album, but their album just before that.
Just
a friend-
before Trauma.
Yeah, so a friend of mine.
Lifelines.
Yeah, Lifelines.
Yeah.
So there was a friend of mine that I
Scars
share
and-
some
yep.
music back and forth with, and she had sent me this album, and like I don't know, she sent me a snap showing that she was listening to it. I'm like, I don't really love that band. She was like, oh, you know why? They're awesome. And I'm like, well, that's sure they are. But she told me to listen to this album. She said she loved it. I was like, all right, out of respect, I want to listen to it. And I listened through that album, and there was really nothing spectacular about it to me. Nothing that really landed with me, stuck out to me. And I think the best way for me to describe I Prevail and why I don't really dig into them much, it's kind of like the butt rock of metal.
That's what it feels like to me, and has always felt
And,
like. Yep.
It's one of these things
He's doing
where
a Macarena.
it's one of these things where they really do kind of follow a basic formula.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that musically they do anything very spectacular. I think they realize they don't have to. They just
Or they
have
can't.
to. They know what's popular. They know what's going to appeal to the masses. They know what their, I guess, kind of pop formula is. And they sort of stick to that, and they stick to the basics. When I listen to their music, I'm not surprised by anything I hear. I don't
Boy, that's a
listen
great
to a
point.
song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to a song and then I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
You rewind. What was that?
Yeah, it's not like, oh fuck.
It's not
very
the
much
song
like
structure
it's
of an
just
event
there.
or of a Moz or a
Right,
whoever.
it's
Yeah.
just
You name it,
there,
yeah.
and it's it's not even like many bands out there are doing anything super crazy with song structure. I mean, a lot of it's still verse, chorus, breakdown, chorus kind of shit. But
Right.
And the verse riff is the same. The chorus riff is the same.
right,
They play the same riff 2 or 3 times.
but like I'm listening to I Prevail, and it's kind of like some chugs and a couple of chords,
Some couple screams.
couple of chords, couple of screams.
It's
and then
Amity,
some-
but on a bigger level kind of thing.
Even Amity was more.
Yeah,
more,
you're right.
Even their new record.
A little more metal or something. Yeah.
Their new
Yeah.
record is more.
yeah,
And I don't even like it, but it's more.
Yeah, it is.
Than
I would
Hyper
say
Metal.
Yep.
I would say I Prevail is very watered down metal for the masses. That's why they're popular.
It's like the butt rock of modern metal.
They are the
Yeah.
butt rock of modern metal. They are the. If you think Tyler, you talked about you were listening to the first episode from season 3, and we were talking about gateway bands. Man, when I think about gateway bands, the fucking pinnacle is
I Prevail and Bad Omens right
because
now.
it's like, hey, if you want to get into heavier music, it's funny. I had a follower on TikTok ask me what are some great. The way he worded it, you could tell he's inexperienced in it, and that's fine. That's why I made a video to help him out, and had a lot of viewers and followers help out in the comments. His question was, what are some metalcore songs that don't have screams? And so, or metalcore bands that don't have screams, metalcore songs that don't have screams. So I named off a few bands that have songs, not their whole catalog, but have songs that don't scream. And, Dayseeker, Boys of Fall. I named off a lot of bands like that, and people jumped in the comments and helped out a ton. But he really was driving the point home of what bands don't have any screams at all. And I made the comment back to him. I'm like, hey man, if screams are not, if you don't want screams at all, metalcore is not for you.
I mean, that's kind of what metalcore is.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I'm like, hey, if you don't want screams at all, that's fine. Metalcore's not for you.
Well, and
real metalcore. Dude, I Prevail has screams. But the way that they do their unclean vocals, I think, is the perfect
It's pretty tasteful.
step
Yes.
to get to.
It's like We Came as Romans for us years ago.
Oh, dude, they were
and-
the Memphis.
and
They were
Memphis
amazing
and-
gateway bands,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, and it's
Amazing gateway bands.
I'm excited.
If you don't want unclean vocals, man, you might as well stick
the word
with
alive, breathing.
Well, the word
Theory,
alive has screams.
Yeah,
and
they
their
do.
screamers actually
holding absence.
pretty good. Stick with like the holding absence. Stick with
Caskets.
caskets. Stick with slaves.
Yep.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Rain
City Drive.
Drive,
That was a
whatever.
band I mentioned in the video too. It was,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
Well, and I'm excited for him as a listener because I think you had said he seems kind of new to
Yeah,
things.
he's new to the scene, so that's why
Give
I made
it
the
time,
video
my
was because,
guy. Give
dude,
it time.
I
Give
if
it
I had
time.
the
There's
phone
a
in my
path.
hand, I would.
There will be a band that
Yep.
will do it for you.
Yep.
I don't know who
Go
yet.
back and listen to season
I
3,
saw-
episode 1.
I
Yep.
saw
There will be
that
a
video.
band.
That video that I made was cool because I saw and it wasn't even a video of ours on TikTok, or I guess of mine on TikTok, that blew up because I mean I've got a video with 6.5 million views,
You badass.
but it wasn't even a video that went viral or anything like that. We've had several videos that went viral. This one wasn't. But to see the amount of people that were willing to jump in the comments and recommend bands
That's really
to this
fucking
guy,
cool.
I'm like, man, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This is literally
Metal Brotherhood,
what
baby.
it's
Let's
all
go.
about. So many people naming off bands that I didn't even think about. Shout out my guy Evan off TikTok. You know who you are.
Shout out Evan.
You got more followers than I do, bro. Shout out Evan.
Send them our way.
Yeah, send them our way. So just the people that were jumping in the comments and recommending bands to this gentleman to help him on his journey into metalcore.
It speaks for this scene. It's everything.
That's what this is all about, man. So
Yes,
it was cool
dude,
to
it's
see
awesome.
that. And I think I Prevail to me is one of the great gateway bands to get people that don't typically like unclean vocals or
Yeah.
like the heavy style of metal music, to get them to that next level. And it's not for everybody. You know, some people might listen to I Prevail and be like, that's too much.
Yeah.
And they take a step back, and that's okay. But some people might listen to I Prevail and go, I like that. I like that a lot. And they listen to it for a while, and then they're like, maybe I want more.
And it's
maybe I
kinda-
want more.
They'll hear
heavy.
one
Maybe I want more
song that
aggressive.
lands. They'll hear like one song that lands with them, and then it's like a week and a half later they're rolling through the.
So you know
album.
what's funny for you and me, and you too, Tyler, probably. Us, it's the opposite. It's what takes us a step back. So like you guys like Carnival and Movements and
Yeah.
Caskets and Mood Ring.
Yeah.
So it's bands like that take you a step back. Mm-hmm. So it's funny how it can work in reverse too.
Yeah,
So mine
yeah.
was like Sleep Token and shit like that was able to like take me a step back to some less aggressive music and make me love and appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it works both ways. Mm-hmm. You look like you had something to say.
Oh no, I'm excited for an idea to end the episode. But I'm
This
waiting.
motherfucker's hiding shit from us.
I am hiding shit.
Well, hide
So-
no more, man.
Hide no more.
Hide no more.
Hold
So
on,
I
let me
had-
think.
We've
Go
only been
ahead.
recording for like an hour and 20 minutes.
It
Was-
is 11.
Oh, woof. We did
What time
have
did we
some,
start?
We did have some interface issues to begin the episode, so we were a little bit behind to begin with. So please excuse us if these episodes are a little shorter. I know you guys don't care how long they are. Hell, our most downloaded episodes over 3 hours long, so y'all don't give a fuck. But Tyler, hide no more, buddy.
All right.
Come on, old Redbeard.
So
Arr.
Damn.
it's a this or that.
Let's fucking.
I had
but-
I had a this
but
and that.
no. Wait.
Shut the fuck up.
But it's
You say
something-
that a lot.
Shut your mouth.
But it's something horrible.
Oh fuck.
All right. So Kyler,
I'm gonna do the
Oh, God.
same.
you've
throw it.
already
You gotta
already
catch it.
mentioned one band. I need another band that you absolutely hate.
I've done this a million.
Another band that I absolutely hate. Bro, I got on my first try. I'm uncoordinated as fuck. A band that I absolutely hate. Oh, God. Besides Beartooth?
Besides Beartooth.
I lost a pouch.
I don't hate Periphery, so I can't use them. Oh,
Gent is not a genre. Is a badass album for this year as well. We didn't talk about that.
a band
Still
that I
haven't talked about that album. Fuck.
You know why?
Because
Because you're the
like
only
them?
goddamn one who wants to talk about it. It's got to be. Luckily, there's an odd number of us, so it's always majority rules. We've changed our logo 85 times in the past fucking 2 days. A band that. Fuck! Why didn't you ask me this before the show? Because I always go to Beartooth.
So there's
And not Avenged
Beartooth.
Sevenfold?
Yeah,
Well-
don't put them in there. No,
Okay.
No.
I mean, we can use them.
Y'all name
'Cause-
some
'cause
other
you-
bands
you
that I
hate
don't
'em.
like. You guys know me better than I know me.
Well, I know you. Hate's a strong word, but you don't like the new of Mice and Men,
Oh, I can't stand Of
which
Mice
we
and Men.
don't either.
No, can't stand Of Mice and Men.
God, it hurts to say that.
Hey, Metalcore Clown Boy. They're dog shit since Austin Carlisle left. Hey, buddy. Canadian fuck.
Well, fuck it. We can
You
just use.
asshole.
We can just use Avenged Sevenfold.
All right. Use Avenged Sevenfold.
All right.
He doesn't listen to our show
So-
anyways. He's too big
so-
for us.
This or that. You have to listen to one of those bands for the rest of your life, and that's it.
Ooh. But can I pick and choose which albums?
No,
Ooh. Ooh.
it is. Which of those bands are you going to endure for the rest of your life?
Well, considering how awful, absolutely atrocious the newest Avenged Sevenfold album is, they're out. That's non-negotiable because they do have some banger-ass albums. Or maybe not banger, but good.
Close to.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Damn good.
Man, it still might be them. Because Beartooth only has a couple songs that I like here. And nope. It's Of Mice and Men. Because the first two were so good that I can sustain the rest of them.
Yeah.
Oh
It's a-
no, I'm talking about Beartooth and Avenged Sevenfold. Which one of those
Ew.
two are you? You have to listen through the entire catalog for the rest of your life, and that's all you get to listen to.
Hey, Metalcore Clown Boy, I was just fucking with you. Buddy. His name's Blake. He's actually,
think he's Blake.
actually
Yeah,
pretty
shout
cool.
out Blake.
He's actually
What's up,
pretty
man?
cool dude. We did have a little argument about my. It wasn't an argument. It was just a disagreement. So I actually do hope you listen to the show. He's a big Of Mice and Men fan. He's pretty much a fan of everything, though. I don't know that he's ever really ran anything
Yeah.
he doesn't like.
Yeah.
His old lady's a big metalhead too.
Sweet.
He's like, old lady, what's that mean? It's a Southern Ohio term for girlfriend, wife, whatever. So your old lady's a big metalhead too, so that's awesome. Beartooth or Avenged? Okay, so you might disagree with me, but I'm gonna go Avenged Sevenfold because Shepherd of Fire, City of Evil, or Backcountry. There is a couple of the earlier albums Nightmare was really good. There is a couple of the earlier albums that I actually like most of the songs on. Whereas Beartooth, there's one album and a handful of songs off the record that I like. So Avenged Sevenfold would be it for me.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm trying to think of bands that you hate.
Those two bands? Because I
it
cannot.
doesn't,
You
it
like
doesn't have to
Beartooth.
be.
For some
You
reason,
like Beartooth, so
yeah.
that wouldn't be fair.
I can't think of a band off the top of my head that I hate. And of course, I tried to look through artists on my phone, but I'm like, if I hate them, I wouldn't have them on my phone.
That's bullshit because you let bands bend you over and butt fuck you until you like them.
That's true.
It took me 87 listens, but this Periphery album's pretty fucking good.
Get fucked. So
Dude, I don't know that there's a band
You
that
don't
I
like
can
Polyphia.
think of.
So yeah,
I don't mind them.
You don't mind them?
I'm not crazy about them.
it was just this
Who do
idea of
I hate?
we keep taking these like two bands that we absolutely love and try to pick between them, but it's like
It's funny when you
What
do
about
the
the ones we
opposite.
hate?
yeah,
Yeah.
when you do the
Yeah.
opposite, it's
What's
like
yours,
fuck,
Tyler?
I can't really think.
This
of,
is your idea, motherfucker.
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that I absolutely
Motherfucker.
hate.
Besides
not
Avenged
in-
Sevenfold.
Yeah, God, I fucking can't do it.
Well, that's one
Put
of
them
them.
up against just about anything, and they're out. I'll listen to the other thing.
I love Creed, bro. I fucking love Creed, man. If you don't like Creed, fuck you, man.
Joke over here. Holy shit.
Oh,
Oh man, if you don't like
put a
Creed,
bullet
fuck
in
you.
my head, in my head.
Look at me.
Bro, why can't I think of a band that I hate?
It is weird.
It's not something you spend a lot of time
It is
with.
No, I don't.
I think that's something we're gonna have.
Maybe
to,
I'm just a gigantic piece of shit for actually being like, oh yeah, I hate Beartooth.
So I really didn't have like what I was going to do with that until you started talking about how you hate Beartooth again. I was like, all right,
don't
that's,
like
that's
Beartooth.
that's how we're going to implement this. But
That's so weird
it
though
could,
because
it could
I
be
feel
like anything.
I
you know
like
what I mean?
Caleb as a person. I just don't like their music, and I feel like a piece of shit for not liking it. I know it just doesn't land to my big ass fucking ears as a lot of bands do. But I really like Caleb as a person. I feel bad for not liking their music because so many people love their music. So I feel like a gigantic piece of fucking doo doo for not liking their shit.
But yeah, I think with that topic, we'll just have to like keep
Marinate on that.
keep mental notes of shit that we each say that we hate.
Yeah, you're right.
And then bring that back.
That's fair. That's fair.
So,
Oh,
in regards to this or that, I have a couple for you.
okay.
You looking at me like,
Yeah.
fuck you, bro.
No, it's not one of those, but it's okay.
You know I don't like to choose.
After the
You don't.
conversation that we've had.
That's why you're single.
Jesus.
That's a good thing. He's got too many females to choose from.
That's
That
a
is
lie.
fun.
He's single, ladies.
That is a lie.
Oh, the single ladies. That's what we should do. Screaming Evidence should do a cover of that song.
Beyonce.
Oh, the single ladies. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It'd be outstanding.
Current's newest album, The Death We Seek, This or That, or Polaris's new album.
Well, that's an easy one for me.
I don't know that it is for him. I'm curious.
Over and over. Oh, God, that song is such a jam.
This might be due to recency bias, but I'm gonna have to stick with Polaris on this one.
Okay.
Let's go.
I haven't listened to the Currents album, and feels like a couple of months.
There's been so much new music, man.
I think really for me it would just have to be kind of the range that Polaris provides, whereas Currents is like they have the one thing that they're really
The
good
whole
at.
album sounds the same. Yeah.
I don't know
Close
that it
to the
sounds the same to me, but it is all pretty similar.
It's
all,
in that vein.
It's
Yeah.
all kind of here where Polaris is kind of like this.
Yep, I agree.
Um,
I love the new Currents record, but I don't think it can touch the new Polaris
No.
record.
Yeah.
My other hot take, this or that, is Polaris's new album. And I know it's an album compared to, because you had mentioned it, Make Them Suffer's new stuff.
Doom Switch and
Ghost of Me.
Ghost of Me. A band on the ghost of me. Ugh. Make me cough.
And I
I
do
haven't
have a hot
I haven't
take.
listened to the Make Me Suffer's newer stuff since it came out.
You haven't?
It's not something I've revisited a lot.
Well, because
But-
I relate, because I haven't either.
Um
And it's good.
I can't wait for them to drop a record,
God
dude.
damn,
Jeez.
I do remember when it came out, like for a solid week and a half, like I was listening to, Make Them Suffer quite a bit because of that shit. That one actually is kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that's
It's not for me, but
So, based on how I feel right now,
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go with Make Them Suffer.
Bitch ass.
he said bitch ass.
Just because I I feel like Make Them Suffer is giving me a little bit more. I feel like their guitar tone, the wall that is created by their guitars, and just
You wrong as hell,
music.
boy.
Their music in general is just. It's more along the lines of what I am into more, which is more.
I
of
think
that
I do
kinda
see that. I do
hardcore
see that.
I'm gonna
Yep.
make you scratch your head a
deathcore
little
kind
bit.
of
Okay.
thing. So and then, I mean, their vocals are pretty fucking dope, bro.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make you scratch your head. That's tough for me because you're telling me I can't listen to those two songs ever again. But
Well,
I've got
I guess
but
that
I've got
wasn't-
wait. But I've got a whole catalog of Polaris to listen to outside of Fatalism. That's tough because, bro, there is nobody out there doing what Make Them Suffer's doing.
Yeah.
I guess my this or that wasn't like it's the only thing you have left.
Oh, it was just pick the two.
Pick of the two.
Yeah, that's easy. If it was, I'm still picking Polaris, but boy, is it tough. So for me to say that should say how good the Make Them Suffer shit is,
yeah.
because it just
It's great.
when
It
we're
is great.
done recording, I want to hear fucking
I do
Ghost
too,
of Me, bro.
because I haven't listened to it forever.
dude, that shit makes me fucking go berserk.
And a real quick hot take, y'all gonna probably think I'm nuts. I'm pretty sure I haven't listened to Currence's newest record or any of Make Them Suffer's newest stuff since 2 weeks of them releasing it. I don't think I've listened to it at all.
I haven't revisited either of those very much.
And I
but
feel
think
bad
it's
because I know how
like
good
Kyler
both of
said,
it
just
is.
the constant
It's the
flow of new
constant
shit
flow of
that's
new
just
stuff.
coming out.
Yeah.
because I would agree with Tyler. I have probably revisited Make Them Suffer more.
Mm-hmm.
But if something off the new Currents record comes on my shelf, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot how fucking much of a jam this is.
Yeah.
I haven't gone and seek out, specifically go through my phone to the new Currents
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to hear this. But if it comes up on shelf, I'm like, oh my God, this is a Vengeance. Oh, whatever it might be. Like,
does
oh,
not
this
get
is a
skipped.
jam.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get skipped. But
Unless my kids are in the back seat
There-
screaming at me to skip it.
there has been, plus my old lady likes Currents. So there has been a constant flow of new music since those songs, those records, songs, whatever have came out, that I get hooked on the newest. So it's been if it pops up on shuffle, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. But other than that, I'm not necessarily seeking it out. Make sense?
Yeah.
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 So, but anyways, well,
I'm trying to think.
what?
I don't know. I don't know that I have much else to add.
Okay. Well, I think that was a good show, boys. Good short show. Way to keep things flowing. Keep things interesting for a season 5 premiere. I know we do a lot of long shows, but sometimes it's nice to do these quick hitters and really make you guys think, and hopefully made you laugh. Hopefully you learned something, and as always felt a part of the brotherhood, and
Absolutely.
as always interact with us. Feel free to tell us we're idiots. I mean, that is the name of the show. That's what we are. Is the
Call
Screaming
us
Idiots.
out.
We
So
embrace it.
we embrace it. So hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and can't wait for you to hear the rest of season 5. We're building, y'all. We keep growing and we're on the. But hopefully by the time this show drops, we are over 5,000 downloads and streams, views, whatever you want to call it. But we're building something here, and we're building it because of you guys and gals. It is all because of y'all. And we're eternally grateful for each and every one of you. We're just 3 regular dudes that love what we're doing, love music, love playing music, writing music, listening to music, and talking about music, and what it does for us as individuals. So, and we know that all of you out there listening feel the same way, or you wouldn't be listening. So, appreciate the support more than you guys will ever know. Can't wait to hear all the feedback from this season. And continue to build this platform. So Thank you, each and every one of you. You guys mean the world to us. We love you. And until next time, we are the Screaming Idiots. We'll see you next week.
Peace, love, dove.
Let's go.